Part 1. Scene start. Int. Blackwood Estate Ballroom Night. A lavish 60th birthday party is in full swing. Classical music plays. Men in expensive tuxedos and women in elegant gowns mingle. Arthur Sterling, 60, arrogant, powerful, stands at the center of the room, holding a glass of champagne. His son Julian, 28, smug, entitled, stands next to him. Arthur, raising his glass, to 20 years of the Sterling Empire, and to 70 more. The crowd cheers and applauds. Moving through the wealthy guests is Ethan, 28, sharp, intense eyes, wearing a waiter's uniform. He carries a silver tray of drinks, but his gaze is locked entirely on Arthur. Flashback, audio only. A loud gunshot rings out. A young child screams, "Dad! No! Please wake up!" Back to the present. Ethan's jaw tightens. The memory burns. He reaches into his pocket and subtly presses a button on a small, customized black device. Int. Security control room. Basement continuous. A lone security guard sits in front of a massive wall of monitors, sipping coffee. Suddenly, the screens glitch, lines of red code scrolling down the feeds. Guard. What the hell is wrong with the mainframe? Before the guard can reach for his radio, the door clicks open. Ethan steps in smoothly. The guard turns around, surprised. Guard. Hey, you're catering. You can't be in here. Ethan moves like lightning. He delivers a swift, tactical strike to the guard's neck. The guard groans and drops heavily to the floor, unconscious. Ethan sits at the master console. His fingers fly across the mechanical keyboard, overriding the mansion's automated smart system. Ethan. To himself. Time to turn off the lights, Arthur. He hits enter. Scene end. Part 2. Int. Ballroom continuous. The clock on the wall hits exactly 9 p.m. Instantly, the grand chandeliers cut out. Total pitch darkness hits the ballroom. The classical music snaps off violently. Gasps and startled screams echo through the crowd. Guess number 1. Is it a power outage? Julian. Don't panic. It's just a blown fuse. Security, get the backup generators online. A second later, the emergency lights click on. But instead of a soft white glow, they cast a harsh, deep, blood-red hue over the entire room. Before anyone can move, a heavy, deafening metallic thud shakes the walls. Massive steel security shutters slam down violently over every single window and exit door. Bang! 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 The guests scream louder, running toward the doors only to find them completely sealed shut. They are trapped inside a red fortress. Man's voice, over intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, do not panic. Your lives are not in danger. Unless your last name is Sterling. The voice is digitally deepened, cold and echoing from the high ceilings. The crowd goes dead silent. Arthur Sterling steps forward into the center of the red light, his face pale but his voice trying to maintain authority. Arthur. Who is this? Is this a joke? I am Arthur Sterling. I will have you hunted down for this. The giant projector screen on the main stage suddenly hisses to life. Instead of the birthday tribute video celebrating Arthur's life, a digital folder opens up. The title reads, Blackwood Holdings, the 2006 Fraud Audit. Arthur's breath catches in his throat. His hands begin to tremble slightly. Part 3. Int. Ballroom continuous. The guests stare at the massive screen as financial documents, forged signatures, and bank transfer logs flash rapidly before their eyes. Ethan OS. Via intercom. 20 years ago, this very estate belonged to the Blackwood family. But in a single night of greed, Arthur Sterling orchestrated a corporate coup. He forged documents, stole millions, and framed his own business partner for fraud. Arthur steps back, sweating under the red lights. Arthur. Yelling at the ceiling. This is a lie. A fabricated deepfake. Julian, get the tech team to cut the power to that screen. Julian. Panicking, looking at his phone. Dad, the signal is dead. Total jammer. The voice over the intercom cuts through the panic, colder than before. Ethan OS. You told the world he was a thief, Arthur. You watched him lose his honor, his home, and his mind. But let's hear what you said behind closed doors. An audio file plays over the loudspeakers. Static hisses, and then Arthur's voice from 20 years ago fills the ballroom crystal clear. Arthur's voice, recording. I don't care if Blackwood loses everything. Let him jump off a bridge for all I care. The company is mine now, and the dead don't talk. The recording ends. The ballroom goes completely graveyard silent. The elite guests turn their heads, looking at Arthur with absolute horror and disgust. Friends he has known for decades take a step away from him. Julian, staring at his father, shocked. Dad, is that really you? Did you do that? Arthur, desperate. No, it's a setup. Someone is trying to ruin us. Part 4. Ballroom continuous. The voice over the intercom laughs. A dark, humorless sound that chills the room. Ethan OS. Oh, Arthur, that was just the prologue. Let's talk about the legacy you built on that blood money. Let's talk about the present. The projector screen flashes and changes. A new headline appears. The Sterling Laundering Network. Suddenly, Julian's private offshore bank accounts appear on screen. Millions of dollars in illegal wire transfers, bribes paid to city inspectors, and hidden text logs detailing extortion are laid bare for all to read. Guess number 2. Look at those numbers. That's city funding. Ethan OS. Your son Julian, a common thief masquerading as a venture capitalist. And your daughter selling corporate espionage data to foreign competitors. The entire Sterling bloodline is rotten to the core. Julian, furious, rushing the stage. Shut up. Turn it off. I'll kill you when I find you. Ethan OS. You won't have to find me. But before we meet, you should know one thing. Every file, every recording, and every bank statement you see on this screen has already been transmitted. The screen shows a loading bar that hits 100%. Text flashes. Transmission complete to FBI is C and Chief of Police. Ethan OS. By tomorrow morning, the Sterling Empire will not exist. Your money is frozen. Your reputation is dead. With a loud mechanical click, the heavy steel shutters over the main grand entrance slowly begin to slide upward. Ethan OS. The rest of you are free to go. Leave the snakes in their cage. Part 5. Ballroom continuous. The moment the doors open, chaos erupts. The wealthy guests don't care about politeness anymore. They shove past each other, sprinting for the exit, terrified of being caught in the middle of a deadly vendetta. Julian. Wait. Don't leave. We can explain. Nobody listens. Within less than a minute, the grand decorated ballroom is completely abandoned. Tables are overturned. Champagne glasses lie shattered on the marble floor. The heavy steel shutters slam down again. Clang. Only Arthur and Julian remain, trapped under the eerie, pulsing red emergency lights. The silence is deafening. Slowly, heavy footsteps echo from the top of the grand, double staircase at the back of the room. Arthur and Julian whip around, looking up. Ethan stands at the top of the stairs. Slowly, deliberately, he unbuttons his catering waiter's vest, slips it off and drops it over the banister. Underneath, he wears a perfectly tailored black suit. He begins to walk down the steps, one slow, echoing pace at a time. His face is calm, devoid of fear, filled only with absolute resolve. Arthur steps forward, squinting through the red light at Ethan's face. He looks at Ethan's jawline, the structure of his face, and most of all, his cold, piercing gray eyes. Arthur's eyes widen. His breath hitches and he takes a sharp step back, stumbling against a flipped table. Arthur. Voice trembling, barely a whisper. No, it's impossible. You're dead. You died in that crash. Ethan. My parents died, Arthur. You made sure of that. But the boy you forgot about? He grew up. Part 6. Ballroom continuous. Julian looks between his terrified father and the lone man walking down the stairs. He grows furious, letting his arrogance blind him. Julian. Who cares who he is? He's just one guy. Julian reaches into his jacket, pulling out a sleek, concealed pocket knife. He flips the blade open with a harsh click. Julian. You think you can come into our house and ruin my life? I'll carve you up myself. Julian charges forward, rushing toward the bottom of the stairs, swinging the blade wildly at Ethan's chest. Ethan doesn't even blink. He stands perfectly still until the last possible second. As Julian lunges, Ethan steps smoothly inside the strike, dodging the blade. With blinding speed, Ethan grabs Julian's wrist, twisting it violently downward. Snap. Julian. Screaming in agony. My hand. Before Julian can drop to his knees, Ethan delivers a brutal, heavy knee straight to Julian's ribs, followed by a powerful palm strike to his jaw. Julian crashes hard into the marble floor, rolling over, clutching his broken wrist and coughing for air. He is completely incapacitated. Ethan doesn't even look down at him. He adjusts his suit cuffs, stepping right over Julian's body, his eyes remaining fixed entirely on the older man. Arthur looks at his son writhing in pain, then back to Ethan. The powerful billionaire is gone. Only a pathetic, terrified old man remains. Arthur. Pleading, hands raised. Vince, please, listen to me. It was business. Just business. Your father didn't know how to survive in the real world. I had to protect myself. Part 7. Int. Barm continuous. Ethan stops exactly 5 feet away from Arthur. The red lights reflect off the polished surface of his black leather shoes. He looks down at his father's betrayer. Ethan. Voice dangerously calm. Business? You framed a good man. You took his life's work, forced him into a corner until he put a gun to his head, and then you bought his house with his own stolen money. Was that just business, Arthur? Arthur. Tears streaming down his face. I'll give it back. All of it. The money, the estate, the shares. I have millions hidden that the FBI can't touch. I can make you richer than your father ever dreamed. Just let us go. Ethan looks around the grand room, then smiles a cold, tragic smile. Ethan, you think I did this for money? For this house? I spent 20 years living in poverty, scraping by, fueling myself with nothing but the memory of my father's blood on the floor. You can't buy back 20 years, Arthur. You can't buy back my mother's broken heart. Arthur collapses into a nearby chair, burying his face in his trembling hands, sobbing openly. Arthur, what are you going to do to me? Are you going to kill us? Ethan reaches slowly into his inner jacket pocket. Arthur flinches, screaming, covering his head, expecting a gun to be drawn. Instead, Ethan pulls out a small old silver pocket watch. He clicks it open. It ticks softly. Inside the lid is a picture of a smiling family. A mother, a father, and an 8-year-old boy. Ethan. My father gave me this before he died. He told me that time heals all wounds. He was wrong. Time just gives you enough hours to plan. Part 8. Int. Barm continuous. In the distance, a faint sound begins to cut through the heavy rain outside. Asterisk wow. Whoa. Asterisk. Sirens. Distant but getting louder and closer by the second. Dozens of them. Arthur looks up from his hands, his tear-stained face turning toward the shuttered windows. Arthur. The police. You called them. Ethan. I didn't just call them, Arthur. I gave them a map. Right now, federal agents are raiding every warehouse, every office, and every hidden vault you own. Your bank accounts were wiped out 3 minutes ago. You are entirely, completely bankrupt. Julian groans from the floor, spitting blood, staring up at Ethan with pure hatred. Julian, you think you won? We have the best lawyers in the country. We'll be out on bail by tomorrow afternoon. This isn't over. Ethan looks down at Julian, a look of genuine pity on his face. Ethan, with what money, Julian? You can't pay a lawyer when you don't own a single cent. And besides, the lawyers won't save you from what else is in those files. Ethan walks over to the master console near the stage and presses a final sequence of keys. Ethan, do you remember the Falcon Cartel, Arthur? The ones you stole $40 million from last year and blamed on a rival crew? Arthur's face goes completely white, losing every ounce of remaining color. He stops breathing. Arthur. Horrified. You didn't. Ethan. I sent the cartel the real transaction logs too. The police are actually your safest option tonight. Because if the feds don't catch you, they will. Part 9. Int. Barm continuous. The sirens are deafening now. Red and blue lights begin to flash wildly through the glass of the front doors, cutting through the heavy rain and mixing with the internal red emergency lights. Tires screech loudly on the gravel driveway outside. Heavy footsteps echo on the porch. Voice outside. FBI. Open up. Break the seals. Ethan walks back to the grand entrance. He presses the release switch. With a loud hiss of hydraulics, the heavy steel security shutters slowly slide upward for the final time. Cold wind and rain blow into the warm ballroom, scattering ruined decorations across the floor. Ethan turns back one last time to look at the Sterlings. Arthur is completely catatonal, staring into nothingness, knowing his life is over. Julian is weeping on the floor, clutching his broken wrist. Ethan. The Blackwood family sends its regards. Ethan turns around and walks calmly out the front doors, stepping straight into the pouring rain. XD. Blackwood Estate continuous. Dozens of police cruisers and black federal SUVs block the driveway, their lights blinding. Heavily armed SWAT officers in tactical gear rush past Ethan, rifles raised, storming into the mansion. SWAT officer. Move, move, move. Secure the perimeter. Because Ethan is wearing a clean black suit and walking with absolute calmness, the officers assume he is just another fleeing guest. They clear a path for him. Officer number 2. Sir. Head down the driveway to the main gate. It's safe that way. Ethan nods politely, his face expressionless. Ethan. Thank you, officer. Stay safe. Part 10. XD. Main highway night. A quarter-mile away from the estate, away from the flashing lights and chaos. A sleek vintage black sedan sits parked under the shade of a large oak tree, its engine idling softly. Ethan walks out from the dark tree line, his hair and suit soaked from the storm. He opens the driver's side door and slides inside, closing out the sound of the rain. Black sedan continuous. The interior is warm and quiet. Ethan sits in the driver's seat for a long moment, staring out the windshield at the distant red and blue glow over the trees. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out the old silver pocket watch one last time. He looks at the picture of his father. With a slow, deep exhale, the 20 years of heavy, crushing weight finally leaves Ethan's chest. A tear slips down his cheek, but he is smiling. It is a smile of absolute peace. Ethan. Softly. It's over, Dad. We got it back. He clicks the pocket watch closed. Snap. He slips it safely into his breast pocket, right next to his heart. Ethan shifts the car into drive. He steps on the gas, and the black sedan pulls smoothly onto the empty, wet highway, disappearing into the dark, quiet night, leaving the burning ruins of the Sterling Empire far behind him. Fade out.